beautiful.
I just said thank you. You didn't even tell me I look beautiful.
You said thank you before?
Yes.
Did you hear that, Rick?
That?
Did you hear that, Rick? I didn't even say anything. She goes, thank you.
No, I could
Like,
tell.
that must be such a confident feeling. Like, to know that you're going to get complimented, that you just say thank you.
It was the way you looked at me. I saw the look in your eye, and I knew what you were thinking before you even said it. That's how in tune we are.
I'm just proud of you. And you know, this whole process with Daddy Raymond has been very, very hard. And you've just been great. And
I was going to say, I don't want to talk about it because I'm having a hard time keeping it together.
I know. But we will keep you guys updated. At the moment, things are very hard, so we will keep you guys posted.
But I just want to say thank you to people who keep tuning in every week, and I've been very fortunate that like both times I couldn't be here, there were guests lined up. The universe lined that up. I watched the episode with Eddie last week.
Well, Eddie wasn't technically a guest; he just happened to be here, and he is definitely very interesting in the comedy world because he's been around it for so long. I mean, I think if anybody really enjoyed that episode, it was Rick.
Yeah.
You know, Rick loves hearing the behind the scenes comedy.
Well, I do too. That's why I was excited to watch the episode with Eddie because I knew him as Russell's assistant, but for me, it was so cool to hear like his crazy backstory with his mom. I had no idea about that. Did you?
I knew that he had gone to jail. I didn't know for what.
Yeah.
You know, but I also, you know, he's such a, gosh, I don't want to call a guy tender.
Well, I was going to say,
he's a very sweet soul.
Yeah, I was very surprised to learn that about him.
And a very good person. So I knew that whatever happened wasn't anything violent or scary or you know, anything of that nature. So, you know, it was cool, you know, chatting with him. I have known him forever, so it was really nice to chat with him. And I did miss you, and I do miss our conversations.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that the last podcast me and you did, it was very good, I thought.
Which one was it? I don't even remember. Been here and there. What are we talking about?
It might have been just talking about kicking off summer and.
Oh, yes. You know what? We got a message because there's, they sent me a message on Instagram. I think they're in Australia and they're coming to the United States and they're doing Texas. And they had already reached out through social media to ask me recommendations. And then they were like, we felt like you did that episode for us. It was really cute.
So that's awesome. Well, and I'm sorry I'm late. Rick is a very busy and successful man. So then, you know, he asked us to come at this time and then I was late because you know, I do try to be the dad that can be there
when you can.
When I can, and Garrett has Texas State baseball camp this week at the Bobcat Stadium. So I was there. Then it's just cool because we really do have a great community here in the neighborhood. And a lot of the baseball parents and the kids that play on our team also do that camp and also live in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
So
it makes sense to carpool.
That makes sense to carpool, or we're communicating, going, you know, I'll call them and go, hey, I'm here. I'm happy to take them home, you know. So, but I'm late because one of the kids overheated. So a lot of, and this is just something that I have learned. Heat stroke is very real. And it, you know, when kids are hot, so the thing that you do, just so you know, that the first of all, the signs you're looking for is, if they get very pale, if they get very pale, hold on. Speaking of one of the parents, hang on real quick.
I don't know this. You know what? I don't know what you do in terms of heat stroke, but I remember, didn't you have a heat stroke once here in the hall?
Yes.
And I was like asleep and you were freaked out because you were just like laying in the hallway and couldn't get up.
Yeah, I did have a heat stroke. But the warning signs, if your kid is no longer sweating, they're pale and they're feeling clammy, that is a sign of a heat stroke. So the first thing you do...
The inability to perspire?
Yes. The first thing you do is you take ice and you put it on their wrists and their neck right here, right? So it goes directly to their blood flow into their veins.
Big veins.
Yep. So you cool them off right away. So Garrett came running to me and he goes, "Oh, so-and-so is not feeling well, Dad. He doesn't want to come out of the dugout." So I was like, "Oh, let me go check."
Yeah.
And then when I saw him, he was laid there very nostalgic and just kind of out of lethargic and out of it. So Joey, our friend Joey Evans, he came over and he's like, "Hey, everything okay? I saw you run into the thing." And I said, and he had a cup of ice. I said, "Give me the ice." And I immediately put it on his wrist, and then the trainer came, same thing, bags of ice, boom, boom, on the wrist, on the neck, and his color started coming back, and we got him in the AC, and he did come back. But it is a very real thing.
That works for a fever too. Something about Delilah, when she gets a fever, it always like shoots up. And you told me that. Yes, you told me that the ice on the wrist will get that fever down quickly, and it works.
Yep, and it does work, but. And then because I was going to bring him home, I then, waited because he wanted his mom to come get him. Yeah. So then I had to wait for her to come from here to there to pick him up. So that's why I'm late. But, there is I never thought, because, I love to coach, and I do coach baseball and I do coach football now. Flag football, and I do coach jiu-jitsu.
Didn't we do a whole episode too about how Garrett was not going to play football? Guess what? Garrett's playing football.
Flag football. He's playing flag football. But we, you get to know these kids, and I really have a connection with all these kids. I know their personalities.
I was going to say they're different personalities.
I know their attitudes. I know what motivates them, what doesn't motivate them. I know how to speak to a certain kid. Some kids are motivated different than other kids, and I'm able to because I've been around them for so long. I know how to talk to a Stone or a Clay or So it's just I didn't think it was going to be. I did it to be more involved with my son. I am not a sideline dad. I'm an involved dad, and nothing against sideline dads, because you can be just as good a dad. That you're always there.
Well, you say sideline dads, and I mean, I think of the other dads, and at least on the teams Garrett plays on, if the dad is not in a coach's shirt, our sideline dads are doing stuff. Like, thank God they're the ones that bring the huge gazebos and set them up so that we have shade for the little siblings and the grandparents, and they're the ones who do the app on the phone so that all the grandparents who can't make it to the game can be watching. Like, I feel like we're very lucky that Garrett plays on teams where everybody is an active participant and contributes in some way.
But we are so lucky, and I know that man, I don't know how to put this without making people feel offended or saying the wrong thing. But
spit it out, Trevino. What are you trying to say?
No, it is just that every kid that we have is a great kid. They're really good kids. They're well-mannered. They're well-disciplined. And one thing I notice is that there's so much parental involvement.
Yes.
Every kid has both parents there all the time, at practice, at the games. If we're at DBAT, all the parents, and we're one of the only teams that you go out there and, man, we've got, and grandma and grandpa and, there's so many people there supporting these kids, and you realize that support is what really helps these kids kind of be very well adjusted, right? Yeah. But man, and then so when this kid heat stroke, man, it was like it was my kid.
You felt responsible,
and then I'm at the camp and I'm following Garrett's group, and in his group, there's 5 kids that are on my team, and I'm watching them, and I'm like, man, it takes everything I got to be like, stop dragging ass, move, throw the ball, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it takes everything I have to go, hey, they're at camp.
Meanwhile, the college kid that's like their camp leader's probably cheering them on.
But it was a great day today, and Garrett did really, really well. But man, it just gets hot from like 11 a.m. comes around, and it is hot, and then Tiago was like, "Where's my dad?" Told Jen, Coach Steve comes. Coach Travis showed up for briefly for a little while, and Joey shows up, with he had a shade chair, one of those.
Yes, those are
shade
awesome.
chairs.
The folding chairs
with
that
the shade
come with like
thing
its
that goes
own
on.
awning. Yeah.
And then he had his laptop and he was over there working while he's there. But my point is that I really try to be involved. Hold on.
Are you for real right now? I thought you were quitting. What's going on? Lori brought you two because one isn't enough.
What do we got going on? What were we talking about?
Joey showed up with a shade chair. And I don't know where you were
No, my
after
point
that.
was that anytime I can be there because of my schedule, I really try to be there.
Yes.
Because I want Garrett to see that, hey man, I can't make the Saturday game.
Yeah.
But in return, I get to make this.
I won't be at football game on Friday, but I was there on Tuesday to watch you.
And I'm coaching, and I'm involved. And I think as Garrett grows older, he will realize that, hey, I did do the extra.
Yeah.
I could have woke up today, dropped him off at camp, come here, and chilled in the AC. But I want to be there, and I want him to see me there and support him and be there for him. Now, it is scary because it is going to get very difficult now that Delilah is starting to possibly be in things like whatchamacallit? Dance and oh my God, her swimming this summer has just been, it is the cutest thing. She'll swim to me and then she'll go, Dad, I'm gonna swim over there. And she just goes, I don't know where she finds the energy. She just swims back and forth. She's only 2.5, so she doesn't turn 3 until end of November.
Yeah.
But man,
she is swimming, and it's so cool
for
to
real
see.
Swimming.
Yeah, it's so cool to see.
It is insane to watch a 2.5-year-old literally swim. She could probably swim without taking a breath 6 feet.
Yeah.
And then if she needs a breath, she rolls over on her back and then takes a big breath, and then she rolls back over and goes at it again. And it is just super, and that goes out to Coach Barr.
Cherries. Yeah. You didn't see it, but we were at the pool party yesterday, the birthday party. It was a birthday party for 7-year-olds. And they all had her in the hot tub, and they were like, swim, Delilah, swim, like going back and forth.
Yeah, our hot tub has basically become the kiddie pool. That is why we have a hot tub, because it is basically our kiddie pool. But it was fun, and this last weekend was Father's Day weekend, which.
You know what? I felt so bad about that. We made such a big deal out of Mother's Day and had that awesome Mother's Day podcast, and it's just like Father's Day, we completely.
Yeah, but this Father's Day was really tough for you.
Yeah.
And and for me, and I've said on this podcast before, I cherish every moment.
Yeah.
I one of my favorite things is when I wake up in the morning and I go to Delilah's room and she wakes up and she's got little eye buggers and she rubs her eye and she grabs her little Mona, her little doll that she sleeps with, and she looks at me and she says, Daddy, she's not quite awake, and I pick her up and she throws her head in my shoulder. Those moments for me, that's Father's Day.
Yeah.
I don't need a day. I don't need, hey, let's celebrate Father's Day. I pick and choose moments every day of appreciation. I take every day, I love that my daughter comes up to me and says, body slam. And that means that we're going to go wrestle on my bed. And we do that a lot.
Yeah.
Or at the end of the evening, the kids love to cuddle up with me, watch a movie, and eat popcorn together. And I've got Delilah on my lap, and I've got Garrett glued to me over here. Yeah. And then Delilah's so cute now because she's like, we need a blanket. We need popcorn. We need, and she gets
her whole setup,
all the setup going, and you guys got to forgive me.
I was laughing.
We have a lot going on. Thank you, baby.
I was laughing because someone asked me, they said, well, on Father's Day, does Steve get to decide what he wants to do instead of you bossing him around? And what you came home and did was you did just that. You got home. It was too hot in the afternoon to do anything. So you watched a movie with the kids. And then once it cooled off, you were mowing the lawn. Someone was like, what did Steve do for Father's Day? He mowed the lawn, his happy place.
Well, but not only that, things got to get done. And it is also, again, it's another day. I don't need the gifts. I don't need the, hey, it's Father's Day. Like, I personally don't need that because, again, you know, I live such a blessed life, and I feel very, very lucky all the time to be doing what I do for a living, and I really do feel like the luckiest man in the world.
Yeah,
I have the most beautiful wife. I have the most beautiful children. I have a wonderful career. I have all these people that not only enjoy my stand-up but love us and care for us and put us in their thoughts and prayers. So, you know, for me, I truly am living the dream.
Yeah.
You know, and I also think that I feel lucky enough that my career did go the way it did. You know, I didn't blow up in my 20s, you know, 7 years in.
Yeah.
You know, I see these kids that they blow up 7 years in a stand-up and their ego is just through the roof and they just think, oh, I'm the greatest thing that ever lived.
It's a different perspective for sure.
It's a different perspective. So for me, this gradual climb and working hard for it, and it was all worth it because, you know, I look back at my life and my career and I go, man, I am the luckiest guy in the world.
Yeah.
You know, and I was telling Nanny Rebecca the other day, and I think I told you, I don't feel successful.
Yeah.
I feel happy.
Uh-huh.
But I don't have this feeling of, I made it. Like, I don't have that feeling.
Yeah.
However, there are moments when I'm either cutting the yard or I'm doing something outside, and I look at my kids and my wife, and they're in the pool on a summer evening in this beautiful home with perfect grass. But really,
The perfect grass.
I have moments of like, wow, look at my kids.
Yeah.
Look at my wife. Look how happy they are.
Yeah.
You know, those are the moments that for me are, but I don't look at it and go, I made it. I look at it and I go, wow, man, I am so lucky.
Yeah.
Rick, do you have moments like that?
All the time, yeah. You know what frustrates me about you is you have no ego, and I want you to have some sometimes.
What do you mean? Why do you say that?
I say that because, like, we'll be like when we were going through the the Mirage, and all these people are like coming up to you and stuff, and I'm like, can you just have an ego and ignore everyone so we can get to where we need to go?
Where's your escort?
But you and your career, because, you know, I would put you in the same category as me, Rick, where, you know, I've been to your house, man. You have a beautiful home. You have a beautiful wife. You have wonderful, beautiful children. Do you have moments where you kind of go, man, I'm lucky?
All the time, especially when you get to share that with people because of where we came from. Both of us kind of came from humble beginnings. So, yeah, you constantly, you know, I thought, I didn't think I was going to get anywhere in this business. So everything is, I feel lucky all the time.
Well, and
it's gravy.
But that's why I love, like, and I think, Rick, you kind of nailed it right there. I love having people over, not because I want to show off, but because I want to share.
Yeah.
Right? I want to go, no, enjoy my pool and come look at this patio and let's play cornhole and let's relax. And isn't this place cool? Like, I want to share it with people more than...
Oh, that for sure comes across, I think,
you know,
when people visit our
more
house.
than, hey, look what I got. That is never my feeling. My feeling is always like, no, like, I have this amazing life and this amazing place that I get to live at. Everybody, come on.
Yeah.
You know? And then I like being the host. I love, you know, and Travis always like, dude, sit down. Steve, enjoy. Steve, I go, but I'm enjoying it. I love it. So, you know, that's what was so special about this weekend performing. So I performed in Arizona at Talking Stick Resort.
I wish I could have gone with you to Scottsdale.
Oh my gosh.
I
man.
like Scottsdale.
So many people asking about you and wondering where you were. And so we did Talking Stick on Friday. And then Saturday we did Saboba Casino. in San
Which
Jacinto.
is like, San Jacinto, is it Riverside-ish?
Ish.
Yeah.
It's like an hour from Redlands, like 40 minutes from Redlands.
So Temecula-ish?
Kind
No?
of. It's in the middle of fucking nowhere, dude. But it's a beautiful casino.
Yeah.
But what was really, to me, really special about this weekend was to share the set that I have been writing and created on Father's Day.
Oh, Father's Day weekend.
To be able to go, like, man.
It was a Father's Day crowd.
Yeah, this set right here. I said that on stage. I go, hey, I'm glad you guys are celebrating Father's Day because you brought her to see me for Father's Day. She was like, you know what I want to do for your Father's Day? I want to go see Steve.
I got you tickets to Steve Trevino.
Yeah. You know what we're gonna do for your Father's Day? What I want to do. But it was so cool for me because this set in particular is about my parents and is about where I grew up and how I grew up and my appreciation for my hardworking parents.
Yeah.
Right, and especially my dad. Right, my dad was strict. My dad was hard, and there were times, even my uncles would come to me and go, "God, Steve, your dad's hard on you, man.
Yeah.
God, are you okay? Man, your dad just expects so much from you,
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would tell him, yeah, I know, man. My dad is really hard. But I mean, people that knew me and knew my dad, they would come to me and go, "Golly, man, your dad is hard on you." But now I appreciate it so much.
Yeah.
And I did grow up in a divorced home, so my dad really felt like, and he's told me this before, he's like, I had to be extra hard on you because I know that when you went to your mom's house, you did whatever you wanted. So when you were with me, I had to be extra hard on you.
I just feel like it says so much about you as a human, like you as a young boy. Because even though we grew up in the same town, I didn't know you like that. But I have seen your dad, and he does speak very rough, and he is harsh, and it is hard. And for you to have been so resilient, I just, as a young man, I find impressive and really interesting. And what was it about your relationship dynamic that you...
I always admired my dad, and I still admire my dad. I've always looked up to him. I've always admired him, and I've always watched him always, despite sometimes his best interests, always do the right thing.
Yeah.
My dad always led by example, always did the right thing in front of me, and I also
in front of me.
Yeah.
In front of me.
I mean, and I say the right thing.
As an adult in hindsight, you know something.
I say the right thing, and this other thing I'm going to say, I don't know if this is the right thing, but my dad I was always with him. And that also means that when he went to the bar, he took me. When we hung out, when he would play poker at night with my uncles and my cousins and his cousins, I was the only kid there. I would sit there and I was the bartender. And on Friday nights, they would have poker night.
Yeah.
They'd all get together, my uncles, their friends. There'd be like 8 or 9 grown men drinking and smoking and playing cards. And Dad would bring me.
So you think it was because you heard other men talking to each other so roughly that like it didn't faze you?
No. I think me learning to be around men and not only kids, but I was also always very mature, right? I was always the one that was like ahead. Mm-hmm. Junior high, I'm already working.
I knew more than you should have.
Yeah, I knew more than I should have. I know how to act like a man because I was around men all the time.
Yeah.
And the community that we grew up in, when I was growing up, everybody helped each other. My dad would say, "Hey, when your Uncle Johnny needs a roof, we show up," because we would do it ourselves.
Yeah.
And then all the uncles would show up. They'd all pitch in. They'd all replace a roof, and I would be there. I'd be the only kid there. And then my dad would say, "We do that because when we need a roof, they come help me."
Yeah.
Right. So I also learned hard work. And then, Uncle Johnny had his company. So my dad had me working with him, 12, 13 years old, keeping me working, keeping me with men, keeping me learning how to handle myself around men.
It was his way of keeping you out of trouble.
And also his way of keeping me out of trouble, because Friday night, I get to hang out with the men while everybody's out partying.
Yeah.
And I'm Dad's bartender. Sometimes his driver. Depended on the thing. So, I grew up. So I think, and I do that with Garrett, right?
Yeah.
There are times that Garrett doesn't want to be with me because it's a bunch of men. But I'm like, no. You're with me. Right? And I try to say that anywhere I go, Garrett goes.
Yeah.
Right? If I go, and a lot of my friends, when they go hunting or fishing, they don't take their kid because they're like, I don't want to deal with him. I don't want to deal with my kid on a boat, being behind him the whole. And I'm the opposite. I'm like, no, my kid's coming. I go fishing trips, Garrett comes. I go to hunt, Garrett comes. And my friends know that. And a lot of times in those situations, Garrett is the only one. And for me, it sucks because, man, would I like to drink a bottle of Crown at the hunting lease with the guys? Because they are. And I don't because I got to go to bed with Garrett.
Yeah.
And I don't want Garrett to see me drink all night. So, it sucks because, man, do I really want to be drinking right now and acting like an idiot with my friends till 4 a.m?
Yeah.
Yes, but I have my sons. I have to sacrifice that to be with him.
Yeah.
But
that's why we always have the parties at our house, so I can put him to bed. You can stay up and be a drunk idiot.
Yeah, that's what I do. I wait for him to go to bed, then I'm at my house anyway. But no,
and then he doesn't have to be your designated driver.
But I've been so lucky too because I do have a stepdad.
Yeah.
And I always say that I definitely grew up.
I was like, is that Garrett? I didn't know if that was Garrett.
That was another, I think, big thing for me growing up is that I had Arthur.
Who was such a complete different
Arthur is the exact opposite of my dad.
They're completely different men.
But I watched him and I learned from him and I was able to be around him. And when we were with him and we would go to San Antonio and all the other men would set up the lawn chairs under the tree with their ice chest next to them and start drinking like my dad would do sometimes.
Yeah.
Arthur was like, come on, let's go to the museum. Come on, I'm going to take you to go see this. Come on, let's go explore the Alamo. Right? So Arthur was always like, hey, check this out. Let's go see this. Let's go see a museum. Let's go.
Yeah.
And then I was with Arthur following him around, hey, let me take you to a nice restaurant. Let me show you, have you ever had let's go have a nice steak. And I'd be like, what? And he would go and we'd go to a really nice restaurant where I would have to sit down where there's a real waiter and,
Yeah.
So I think having both of them was a huge influence on me because I truly grew up with Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
I grew up with the tough, common sense Vietnam vet, teach you how to be a man and be rough and how to work. And then I have this stepdad who is a civil engineer, who is a total intellectual, one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life that I grew up with. And then you don't realize as you get older and you get married, when we got married, the idea of, oh, Mom, I've never called your mom. I've never called your dad. I mean, we call him Daddy Raymond. We call him Mama Mia. But in the beginning, it's like, this ain't my dad. Like, why do they call him Mom and Dad?
Yeah.
But as time has gone by, you realize that your dad is like a dad to me.
Yeah.
And your mom is like a mom.
And I would say that's the same of your parents. Yeah.
And now the connection that I have with your dad and the things that I've learned from your dad and the conversations that I've had with your dad, because it's a different dynamic.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah, no, it's going to make me cry. Not even because you're talking about my dad, and I know you have a very special relationship with him, but also as I go through this with my father, I have so much love for your parents as well because of how they are supporting me, and I feel them holding my hand through it too. And yes, your parents feel like my parents too. Yeah.
Now you're gonna get me. Fuck this podcast. But you do realize that that is my mom and dad, and I think my advice to a young couple, is to embrace that earlier.
For sure.
You
Yeah.
know, to
I would agree with that.
To understand that, man, I do need to have a relationship with these people, and that it is a mother-father relationship.
But it does feel weird to call them mom and dad because you didn't grow up calling them that.
Right.
You know, you grew up calling someone else mom and dad. It does feel weird to call them mom and dad, but the
that's
love
why I
and the
think it's special that he
relationship is still
became
very-
Daddy Raymond
Yeah.
from a joke from my dad. For those of you that don't know, you know, we would go home to visit, and of course we grew up in the same town, and my dad would be like, hey, I know you're in town. Who are you hanging out with? Your Daddy Raymond? Where's Daddy Raymond? You know, so that's how Daddy Raymond came about. And then your mom calling her Mama Mia from Garrett. Garrett started calling her Mama Mia.
Uh-huh.
But, you know, your parents are definitely my mom and dad. But since it is Father's Day, the relationship I have with your dad is a father-son relationship, but it's also different.
Yeah.
You know, it is a, you know, even though dad and I are friends, dad is still I'm your dad, and I am here to be your dad.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be your dad. And your dad has advice for me in a different way. And we have conversations, me and your dad, in a different way.
Yeah.
That makes my relationship with your father special. You know, it's definitely a very special relationship that I have with your father. And man, this is so hard for me too, because, you know, he has become my dad. You know, and then you got somebody like Rick, you know, perfect example. His in-laws live next door.
Yeah.
Rick, has your relationship with your father-in-law grown?
Well, I've lived next door to him for 15 years now, so yes.
Were you uncomfortable with the whole "he's my dad" thing?
No, not at all. No.
That was easy for you.
Very easy. Yeah, but you met him before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're the nicest people in the world and so accepting. They're way too accepting. There's no way they should have accepted me so soon.
Well, I wish I had that. because my in-laws were not accepting at all in the beginning.
Rick also wasn't on stage in front of an audience telling jokes about having sex with Gigi and the dog throwing up in the corner. So it's a little bit different.
Little different, yes. But would you say that your relationship with your father-in-law has garnered some you know, definite education and learning from him?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And you know, all the things that my dad didn't teach me growing up, like how to use a hammer, he showed me.
But you know,
So
but it is cool to have that, you know, to have these men in your life that are like dads, you know, and I always call Arthur and I always tell him Happy Father's Day.
Yeah.
You know, because he taught me a lot, and I learned a lot from him. You know, I learned definitely. I always say that I'm so lucky that I can walk into any group of people and have a conversation.
Yeah.
I can, you know, from the poor people to the rich people to the smart people to the dumb people to the jocks to the musicians to, you know, because I've lived so much life and I did have the experience of having
all kinds of conversations.
Yeah. Now, I will say, you know, that, you know, one of the things I admire most about you is your inner strength and your thick skin.
Yeah.
And, you know, your relationship with your dad, not to make you cry again.
Yes.
What were the special things there?
Dad would defend me no matter what.
Oh, I know.
Like in my dad's eyes, there was always a reason for what I did. It was always, I was always smart. Like dad is a source of eternal love for me.
But the thing I see about your dad is that he babied you girls.
But yes and no, because you say that. And like when I was in the hospital with him last time, he told me, because I was eating cafeteria food, he told me to slow down. I was going to get fat. And like,
well,
but it doesn't faze me. Like
I text him. I go, hey, Daddy Raymond, can you help me with this, please? Can you? She can't stop shoving food in her mouth. Can you please say something?
No, but it's funny because maybe that is where I get my thick skin from. But it was the combo of the two. Dad could say things to me like that and it not bother me because there's so much love, just unconditional love. And he always thought I was capable of anything, and anything I wanted to do, I could do it. So maybe it's the combo of the two together.
He definitely spoiled you girls.
Oh, for sure.
It was your dad did not know the word no, and he still doesn't.
Well, I don't know that you tell Delilah no either, Steve Trevino.
No, I discipline, but Delilah definitely gets away with a lot more than Garrett does. But that's another thing that I think that is important for dads, especially with sons and with daughters, is that, I joke with Garrett in a mean way to teach him that they're just words.
Oh yeah, you've always been very strategic about how and when you do that.
I pick on him a little bit verbally, just a little bit, and then he barks. He comes back with a smart remark, and then I come back with a smart remark to teach him that they're just words. Yeah, and also to teach your kids to defend themselves with words.
But you guys are doing it as jokes.
Yeah, we joke around.
Puns. Yeah,
but Garrett's sharp. He'll burn your ass real quick.
Yeah,
right. So, but you have to teach your kids those skills. A lot of parents forget to teach those kids those skills. So then they go into elementary school, and then one kid calls them ugly, or one kid says they don't like their hair, and then they fall apart because you never taught them that skill.
Yeah.
You've never taught them that, hey, who cares?
Yeah.
I say things to you. Does it bother you?
You be good with you.
They learn to overcome those things, and parents don't they don't realize that you are in charge of teaching your kids everything. They don't know.
Yeah.
So I teach Garrett to cope with words. I teach Garrett how to be quick-witted. Yeah. And how to fire back.
Oh my God, you say that right now, and I sent you something. I don't know if you saw it. I sent you something on Instagram because I was watching a mom who is a therapist, and she was saying, you have to teach, because it's summertime, you have to teach your child how to handle boredom. Don't come to me and tell me you're bored. Here are ways to process and things you can do when you were bored. And yes, we can sort of have a schedule for the summer, but there's also loose time that you just got to figure out what to do, dude.
Well, I want to arm my kids with every single tool.
Yeah.
I want them to be, inner strong, mentally strong, physically strong. I want to arm my kids with every single tool, but you have to teach them those skills.
Yeah.
Right. You can't learn how to burn people
or give them opportunities to build their confidence. Right.
I Garrett, man, the other day I was like, look at those little baby arms, and he's like, Dad, what are yours? Molecules? He's like, look at yours, Dad. Yeah. He's like, come on, bro. So we go back and forth.
Oh, with the come on, bruh. Now Delilah says it too.
Come on, bruh.
Picked up on it. Oh my gosh.
But it drives me crazy that mothers are so revered, and the mother, and yes, 1,000% women deserve that.
So you don't need a day, but it drives you crazy that mothers are so revered.
I'm saying right now that the value of a dad is just as important as a mother.
Oh, for sure. Just because we revere mothers doesn't mean that a dad is not valued. Next year we'll do a Father's Day podcast.
I was laughing because these single moms are like, well, happy Father's Day to me. I'm like, no. You don't get to also take that. You are not a father. You are a mother.
Yeah.
You're a mother, and be a mother, and be proud to be a mother, and you deserve all the accolades in the world for being a good mother. But don't try to take Father's Day too. You can't also take Father's Day. I mean, I get it. You're parenting alone.
You have to fill both roles, or you try. I imagine I'm not doing that, but I imagine they are trying to fill.
But the men that I really admire and I find really cool is when I see men that did not have a father.
Yes.
And become
amazing
really good
fathers.
men and good men.
Yeah.
That to me is like, wow. Like you had zero guidance. You had zero example. You had, my dad was with me all the time on my ass, teaching me how to shake hands and how to make eye contact and to get off my seat when a woman walked in the room or to open the door. And I mean, these are all things that my dad taught me.
Right.
You know,
and you wonder, was that a testament, for those men, is that a testament to their mother, or did they learn that by watching a friend's father? Or,
I mean, even if I'm in an elevator, I wait for the women to walk out first.
Yeah.
I'm polite. And I teach Garrett that. I grab him like, whoa, where do you think you're going, dude? There's women in here. Let them go first, right? But for those men that didn't have that didn't have a dad that was teaching him, here are all the man roles that they were able to come out of that, be good men, try to, and become good fathers, become good husbands without seeing it.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that I go, wow, you must be really astute to be able to pick all this up.
Yeah.
Because I do meet friends of mine that are great dads and good men. And then they go, yeah, man, I didn't grow up with a dad. And I'm like, really? I would have never guessed it.
Yeah.
I would have never guessed that you did not grow up with a dad. But then I meet other people that I go, that guy for sure didn't grow up with a dad. You just know.
Yeah.
You're like, that guy, nobody taught him how
and
to
not
be,
in a bad way, just
not
like.
in a bad way. They just kind of go through life like, but you're like, dude, get up.
Yeah.
Right? Dude, my dad, are you kidding me? If somebody was working, if we were anybody and somebody got up to go get a chair for somebody, my dad would be like, get your ass up and go beat that person to that chair and bring that chair over here.
Yeah.
Go. You see it needs to get done, get it done. I always tell the story. My dad, he goes, you have eyes. And if that yard needs to be cut, then you cut it. I should not have to tell you.
Yeah.
You should know better. And there was times that he got home and I heard the lawnmower going and I'm like, oh shit. And I'd go out to try to grab the lawnmower from him and he'd go, you better get away from me. You fucked up. And I would be just sitting there like, like, oh my God, I fucked up. And he wouldn't even talk to me. And then he'd be like, what kind of man sees that the yard needs to get cut and doesn't handle it? What kind of man sees that this needs to be done and you didn't do it?
Yeah.
My dad would make me rotate the tires on his truck by myself with jacks. I would jack it up, take a tire off, take the other tire off, put the front tire on the back tire on the front tire. And I'd sit there and be like, the fuck is going on? And now I can change a tire.
I was going to say, he wanted you to learn how to change a tire.
But parents and dads are not teaching these lessons.
Yeah.
They're not showing their kids these things. They're not making the effort to wake up and go, guess what you need to learn?
Well, I know how to change a tire. Now I have AAA.
Oh, and you have daddy. Call Daddy Raymond. But again, Father's Day is to all the dads out there, and that was what was so cool about doing that set. Because afterwards I said to all you dads,
yeah,
the real dads, the dads that don't make excuses, the dads that wake up and go to work no matter what, the dads that show up to practice, the dads that make an effort to sacrifice and wear the same damn shirt week after week, year after year, so that their wife and kids can look better. Those dads are the dads I admire. Those dads are the dads that I love. And I even said, and for those of you that don't pay your child support, those of you that continue to make excuses, fuck you. You're a piece of shit.
Did you really
Yes.
say that on stage?
Yes.
Trevino?
You're a piece of shit. Take care of your kids. Take care of your wife. Go to work. Do the things you're supposed to do. And don't make excuses.
That sounds like Joe Trevino right there.
Very simple. Aztec Chevrolet, they don't make excuses. They get things done. Go over to Aztec Chevrolet. Give them a chance. They also have Aztec Ford and a new dealership in Uvalde, Texas. It's a Uvalde Chevrolet.
Yeah.
So go visit those guys. Give them a chance. They deserve it. They're amazing guys and girls out there. And then, of course, pick Cherries. If you're not listening to podcasts on Pick Cherries, you don't know how to do it. And if you're a novice trying to get into podcasts to listen to,
it's a great way to jump in and start.
Perfect. Give us a little Old Salt Coffee.
Old Salt Coffee. Use code Trevino10 for 10% off of your subscription.
And
we're due for a refill. Our stock is low.
Yep. And I do want to apologize for looking at my phone. I know that is a distraction and very annoying. However, things are different here at the house, and some phone calls need to be responded to because we are having a rough time here at the Trevinos, and we love you guys for your continued thoughts and prayers. We love you guys for continuing to support us, to care about us the way that you do. Please do us a favor and tell somebody about our podcast because we love it and we want to keep doing it. And a big thank you to our producer, Rick, who we absolutely love and we miss. Hopefully we'll get to see you this summer, buddy. Bring the kids to Slitterbond.
Oh, I don't know about that, but you guys got to come hang out at the pool.
Hell yeah, we're going to go hang out at the pool. Naked. Love you guys. Thank you. We'll see you next time.